Joshua with RazorGage, and today I'm going to talk about how to create a cut list for use in AutoList in RG3. And a lot of these rules apply to RGST as well. As far as creating the cut list that I'm going to create will work for either RGST or RG3. I'm using Excel to create the cut list. You can use Notepad or Google Sheets or a lot of different ways. What we're wanting to do is to create a CSV file, and it doesn't have to have that extension. It just has to be a comma delimited file in tabular format, and that means each row represents a part and each column represents an attribute of that part. So I'm just going to start here. So let's see, we'll start with length, quantity, width, material, job number, color, bin number, and we'll leave it at that. You can have as many, in RG3 you can have as many columns as you like. When you're deciding on what to put in the cut list, what information to put in there, think about what the operator needs to see and what you may want for labels. The operator doesn't have to see every column in the cut list. You can limit what he sees to the things that are important to him, but yet you can have all the other columns there for printing labels. So if you're not sure, just go ahead and add that piece of information, and it won't hurt anything. You can have as many as you want. In the older software, RGST, you can only have 20 columns, but in RG3 you can have as many as you want. So I've just chosen these items. Let me make sure I've got the ones we need. Okay, so length we'll say is 25 and 5/16, 18.65. You can't have fractions in the number columns. In a text column, like if you wanted to have a column that said length imperial, or I guess you might say imperial length, then you could say 12 5/16. Oh, no, Excel interpreted that as a date, but you can put it in any format you want, and then you could change Excel so that it doesn't format it that way. Now I'm not going to get into a formatting situation here, but you get what I'm talking about. You can, as long as we don't use it for the length column or one of the other number columns like quantity or width, you can represent the length any way you want, and the length the operator sees out on the screen can be the imperial length, but the machine's going to use the length column. So I'll put 5 and 7/8, 6 1/4, 65 3/4, 25 1/4, and then we'll just say 2 3 that, and then I'm going to do material first. I'm going to say this is 3/4 oak, 3/4 oak. I'm going to make them almost all of them 3/4 oak. Maybe I'll make a couple of them different. Okay. I'm going to say the width, we have 2-inch, 3/4 oak, and 3. And then I'll make all the pine. Well, 1 is kind of wide. I'll say 2.5. There we go. We'll say the job number is if we're doing wood, you wouldn't have color, so I'm going to get rid of that one. What's another thing that might be on there? Well, let's say cabinet number. And bin, we'll just say different bin for each one. Okay, so that's it. Now again, I could have as many columns as I want. So I'm going to save this as a CSV file. And to do that, I just choose CSV. And I'm going to call this demo, or Cutlist demo 3. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to save this one in Documents. I'll create a new folder. And we'll save it right there. So that's that. Now I'm going to close it and open RG3 Mapper. Now, this is RG3 Mapper. I'll preface all this by saying we do not recommend that the customers do the mapping. We can do it really quick. You can send it to us. We'll just do it and send you the definition file. Do not do your own mapping. There's just no reason to. I am going to show how it's done just so you see the whole process, but don't do it yourself. You'll make little bitty mistakes and everyone will be a phone call. If you just send it to us, we will get it done and send it back and it'll all be good. So I'm going to open this. It says there is no associated RG3 mapper. Would you like to create one? Yes. So here's the list we made. I'm going to click copy header to column name, which means, and it's also going to skip the first row when it's converting the file. So now I'm just going to say, you know, this one's length, this one's quantity, this one's width, this one's material. This is just a random thing. I'm going to user field text, user field number, and now I'm going to map the columns. Columns been mapped and saved to this folder. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to close it out. Now I'll just go to the RG3 software. I'm already in AutoList here. Now I'll click Open File. And there's the mapping file that I created. Here's the CSV file. Before I open this, I'm going to copy it and just have a backup in case I made a mistake. Because when it opens the file, it deletes the CSV file and creates its new RG3 R3D file. And if I made a mistake, then I will lose my CSV file. So I'm going to open this copy. That's why I always say to have us do it. Just do that. See, that got changed to R3D. I'm going to close our RG3. I'm going to make some more copies of this. And delete this. Oh, maybe I've got, yeah, that doesn't want to delete, but I'll open this Cutlist demo again. Okay, I've already got an R3D in there. I'm going to close this out. And go to Documents, Cutlist Demo folder, delete this. And I want to transfer those. Length, quantity, width, material. I'm just going to call all these user field text. Well, that should be fine. Skipping the first row. And I'm going to map the columns. Oh, I didn't group. That's why it failed before. I didn't do the grouping. I'm going to group by material type. There. All right. Now when I go to okay, use one of the copies, and there it opened it up. So on my group, so here are the parts in this group that it chose. There are two groups, 3/4 inch oak and 3/4 inch pine, because I only grouped by material. But I'm also going to add width to that because I had a couple different widths. So you can see here I've got 3/4 inch 2-inch wide, 3/4 inch pine 2.5 wide, and 3/4 inch oak 3-inch wide. You can see all the parts by going right here, but the current group is the 3/4 inch oak 2-inch wide. So that's how the whole Cutlist creation mapping thing works. The CSV file can be created by any software. It just has to be a comma delimited text file, really is all it is. And I'll just show you what it looks like. Here's this CSV file. This time I'm going to click Open With and Notepad. That's what it looks like in Notepad. And you can create the file here. But that's all it is. It's just Excel creates this kind of a file. So that's how the whole Cutlist thing works. I hope this was helpful. Let me think if there's anything else we need to go over. Grouping is the key thing. Column display. If you don't want, like here you can see there are all these columns we don't want to see. We can get rid of those here. Don't want to see all that stuff. There are default ones that are always there until you get rid of them. So then we update it. Now we don't see all those. Like I said before, you can go to all parts, cut history. If we do a run, like right now there's no cut history, but if we do a run, there you can see it optimized. We'll run that out. And now we go to cut history. You can see the run that was done and what parts were cut out of that. Here's where you create your labels, and then we have yield reports. One little bit about the optimizing. The default way is to do what we call first fit optimizing. It cuts the long parts first. It just always puts the longest part into the board until it can't put any more. That's what the wood guys usually use because they want to take advantage of the longest clear spans for long parts. For aluminum guys, a lot of times they choose exhaustive enumeration. That just takes the 10,000 different combinations and chooses the best one. So that one you usually get short parts out first and end up with long parts at the end, just because you can usually create a better yield with a bunch of short parts than you can with long parts. So that's the whole thing, from Cutlist all the way through to using it in AutoList. Hope this is helpful. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day.